chased them away. US chased them
Technically, the
away.
UK still owns the powers that created America. Still owns. It still belongs to the UK. They call
Whom?
You
still
are
in the UK.
joking.
United States belong
You
to
are,
who?
you are, you are, you are
See,
I don't know where you are. Maybe that's what they're telling you. That they're lying to you.
it's the Anglo-Saxon this thing. Have you heard of the
Those
Five
guys,
Eyes?
America is not no
Hey, come on, man, make your peace with it. Why do you think they are trying to fight Russia? They are trying to fight Russia because of European tribalism. This is not Russia is part of the European race, but yeah, they are fighting them. Why do you think they are fighting them?
If it wasn't US, you'll be speaking German in UK right now. What are you talking about?
Who is where? No, but that's the point.
So what are you
country is
talking about? You own US when it was US that came to
Anglo-Saxon.
rescue you, and US make you surrender your colony to America. Do you know that what reason America is so wealthy is because all the things that belong the empires, British claim to be their empire, all those places they expand to. America made UK surrender everything.
Yes, but the
But
US is
America to
Anglo-Saxon.
defend
You are
them against
missing it.
Russia and Germany.
See,
Because Germany was already crushed you.
Mike,
They
there's no
already
need
run
to make
over
the
France.
point. There's no need to make the
Hold
point.
on now, bros. So I know UK like to trying to brainwash their citizens to believe they are still
I'm
this British
saying
empire.
if
and
Yoruba,
so
imagine if
and
Yoruba
they own
was
America, they own
UK.
anywhere they speak English.
Oh,
You know?
calm down. Imagine if Yoruba, imagine if the UK was speaking Yoruba and America was speaking Yoruba. What do you think? If America takes over the world, is it not the same?
No, maybe when
your
your empire was your empire, maybe we cannot spread Yoruba during that time. But it doesn't now mean today because they are speaking Yoruba in America. I'll now be telling you that Nigeria own if Dusty Nigeria that's not relevant, or your land that's not relevant today. I'll now be telling you that, or your own America. Are you kidding me?
See, it is so relevant. It is so true that even what is happening today in the world is because of that European tribalism. Not necessarily just only white supremacy. The European tribalism, that's why they don't like Russia. Don't you see that? This reason why they don't like Russia is because of European tribalism.
It's not tribalism. I don't know why you guys always mistake.
Okay, what is it? They tell me why do you think they
people,
don't like Russia?
You can't say these people don't like. You can't say someone will tell me Ukraine and Russia was tribalism. I'm like, dude, it doesn't make sense. They're fighting. These people are not done to say I'm just fighting because you sound different from me. No, it's interest.
No, not Ukraine. I'm talking about the West. Why do you think the NATO West doesn't like Russia?
The what? The NATO?
The NATO West. Why do you think they don't like Russia?
It's power now.
Interest.
Power.
But then how is it that they are okay with France? They are okay with the United Kingdom.
Yeah,
they're okay with Spain. They're okay with all the others.
Because France, you mean the rest of the European? Because France, they used to hate France. When France used to want to conquer them, it was so powerful. But France is weakening. All of them are all weakening. After World War II, they all became weak. The only mighty European country that was very powerful after World War II was Soviets. And that's why all of them got scared and had to team up with America to protect them. That's the way it works. Power game. Everybody want to be the most powerful.
America forced them under their control, which is basically
America did not force them. They went to America to beg America. In fact, when Germany was already whooping, like literally finishing them in World War II, that's when they all went to America to beg America to come and defend them.
And the
Soviets were coming in too.
Whenever a war is declared,
I know many people normally downplay the role of Russia in that Second World War. People normally downplay the role of Russia played in that Second World War, because that war was
in the First World War, Russia was an ally of the West in the first one. So the second one, technically, they were allies of the West too, because they fought Hitler.
I don't think there was more.
But even after the war, they turned against them. This is what I'm telling you.
Wait.
Did you say Russia was ally of the Western world during the
First and the Second World War?
They were not allies. They were on their own. No.
Russia was the one that did most of the fighting. America was supplying them weapons. See, where do you think this word spam mail comes from? Because America was supplying the Russians with spam like corned beef. They were supplying them.
America started,
they were buying.
They were not. No.
They were supplying them. I'm telling you,
America didn't enter into the Third World War, in the Second World War until they were conned into getting involved. So where did you get?
They were conned. They were involved from the very beginning.
It took them long time to get
America
involved.
was not from the very beginning to Naja. I'm sorry.
America was not involved.
It may not seem like that to you, but if you look at the geopolitics of what was happening, America was allowing the Europeans to do that. Russians to do.
Do you know that America was
neutral?
Do you know that America was even funding Germany in the beginning? Do you know that?
Okay, are you going to say America is not involved in Ukrainian war?
No, I'm just telling you, didn't America was even funding
That is
Germany
how
in the
it was
beginning.
then. It's the same tactics they used then. That's what they
Yeah,
have to
man,
use
that
America
we
will
now.
all
fund
agree that they all play game, they all play
It's
tactics.
amazing
Listen,
how you
they,
split
they all
your
playing chess. You understand?
analysis. Hold on for a second, please. It went from they were trying to tell you by the Second World War that America was not initially was not part of it. Okay, they switched to Ukraine War. America is not involved in Ukraine War. Well, what is the analogy or comparison there?
What
It was
I'm
true. It's well documented. Hold on, it's well documented that America initially, yeah, America may have been supporting Germany actually, Nazi Germany, but
no,
eventually, they had
they were not
to.
supporting Nazi Germany
Yes.
in the war. No, they were
Well,
not.
Not on the battlefield, but backing
I said,
financially and politically.
No, they
Well,
were not. It was Russia.
actually,
They were
they
that's
said they
well
sending
were
money.
documented.
neutral, but
Hold on to that,
guy,
guy. That is, America actually did business. It actually is well documented. Prescott Bush,
ex-
George Bush's grandfather, did business with Nazi Germany or Germany. They did. It's well documented.
Yes,
America did not have a negative disposition towards Germany during the Second World War. It
actually
was
they
later
did.
down the line. It was later down the line that after they took over France and pretty much on the verge of destroying England and some other things that occurred before America kind of came to the war. And really, it was the Russian actually that took the brunt of the death in the Second World War because they lost close to over 20 million people.
26
So it
million.
was the Red Army. It was truly the Red Army that defeated the Nazi Germany at the end of the day. So to
Yes,
defend the
We were the
territory.
one,
but you
they were the one
conflate
that
things.
were
Oh, man, that's your
Oh,
mic. Something is really wrong with that. Your mic. I don't know who that is.
Yeah, the
Um,
magic sound like it's flying aircraft.
yeah, you are conflating quite a lot of different facts. One minute you say America is not involved in the war. Technically, they were not physically involved, like the war in the Ukraine
no,
now. They were. They are,
Seneca,
can
you
you
have a
let me
way of
finish? Can you
talking.
let me finish
Hold
the
on, hold on.
point?
I
Can
said
you let me finish the point?
initially they were not. Don't you
They
understand?
were always involved in backing the
Okay.
Russians against the Germans.
The,
All right.
the Russians,
Forefather, America never got involved. They discussed it in the Congress that some people were lobbying America. You know,
Yeah.
okay, one man. So that they were even debating the thing in the Congress. So how will you be involved in something that you'll be debating again? So you are not say forefather. Just America was not involved initially in that. They
and Tunaja,
Oh,
by
come.
the
Father,
way,
say
this
you
is
think
Okay,
something.
now
you're an
let me get
historian.
the facts now.
You're not an
Let me get
historian.
the facts. Let me get the
Tunaja,
facts
before
because
you go, by
this
the
is
way,
what I
this
already
is
know.
something we
And
learn in school in America. So before you start arguing with me on Peter
I
Saturday,
know. This British guy talking.
this is something they teach us in class.
you know, you need to watch it before you start calling me British. You.
We are not
Uh,
streets just argument. This is
See,
something.
the United States started supporting Russia during that war on June 1941 when Germany invaded this Russia. They started from there. They even have the Lend-Lease Act expansion, this thing program that they started. So they were supplying them. They even have that, like I said, they even have words that we are using today that came from that support.
Okay, hold
But
on. Let
yet
me explain
after
it to
that
you.
war, they turned it to enemies.
Tunaja, let
Why?
me explain something to you. No, in the beginning,
They were just
America
doing
was playing
business.
neutral. They call it isolation,
Exactly. They were
whatever,
doing
right?
business,
They were
selling
playing
weapons.
neutral. So any one of them that came to them and say they want to buy something or they need something, hey, America will offer it to them. In the beginning, they were playing neutral. It was then later,
Oh.
right, when England became weakened, France weakened, the West, and then they now visited US to convince them. In fact, they did series of visits, they did a lot of negotiation before America now finally said, okay, we'll now support you. So in the beginning, they were neutral. That's something we learned in school, yeah. So I don't come here and start
No,
arguing.
no,
That's what the US
Hold
government.
on. Google.
what they
If you
said
want to
You can
argue this, don't
hold on,
argue the US
Tunaja.
government.
Do
Because
you
that's what they
know
talk.
that the Nazi Germany actually advertised in the American newspaper during Second World War? Google it. New York Times.
See,
They
the
did.
idea, okay, let me make the point. I think maybe that's what everybody is trying to say. The idea was that in the early stages of the war, when it started, America was still doing this what they call it economic relationship. They were a kind of neutral then because the war hadn't gotten out of control. They were having a kind of
Oh,
economic
okay. So
relationship.
No, it
now
was out
you
of
accept
control.
it.
No, 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 no,
It
Now
was
you
out
no,
of
come
control.
no. I
around.
think that's what you are trying to say. But
No,
my
that's not
point
what we
is
are
that
trying
That's
to
what we've
they
been
say.
saying all
supported
The
along.
war
Russia.
That's what
was
we've been saying all along.
it
No,
was
what I was
bloody.
saying, because
Even
Russia
France
wasn't in
already
the war
dead. Even
then.
France.
Russia, oh my goodness, Russia was not in the war
Too
then.
many voices, one voice at a time, Joe.
I was
Too many
referring to
voices.
Russia. I was referring to Russia. Russia wasn't in the war. When Russia got involved in the war, America started supporting Russia immediately. That's the point I'm telling you. And the original point was that why is America against Russia now? Why is it that the UK is against Russia? Because they've been against Russia since even before the First World War. That is why that Mackinder thesis theory was written, and that stuff governs what they do. Even an American top brass, I think it was in the military, wrote a book. He said the reason why they went to the First and Second World War was because of this Mackinder thesis. They don't want Russia to
You think that,
expand out of that
you think
region.
that,
Pardon?
Okay.
you think
Forefather,
that,
let's say that your microphone uh is still giving some kind of voice.
Background
Now,
noise.
okay, does Mike or Prince Daddy want to respond to Forefather? Because
Yeah, well, if
Forefather
I can say quickly,
is spying history.
I think I have a kind of an idea what you're talking about too, Niger. Um, but again, during that war, okay, look, again, the Russians, the USSR was it back then was the one that was kind of in the forefront fighting the kinetic war against Nazi Germany because again they run over France and the United
Poland.
Kingdom. I think
They didn't defeat
Gucci
United Kingdom. United Kingdom
Bene-
remains undefeated.
huh?
Hey,
I
I
say
thought you
United
ran to America.
Okay, okay, no worries.
United Kingdom remains
Well, say,
undefeated in
well,
France.
thanks to the Americans, quite frankly, like the country or the empire known as the United Kingdom would have been way gone a long time ago. But anyway, the Russians are the ones at the forefront of the war, losing their men. I'm telling you, without the Russian, imagine if
Yes.
America would have had to fight that war or one on one with the Russians. It would have been devastating. Or rather, with the Nazi Germany because of the distance and whatnot. But it was the Russians that put their lives on the line, the USSR. And again, over 20 million of Russians were killed. They were the ones
Mhm.
that actually resisted the Nazi Germany. And yes, maybe the US supported them because they were doing the bidding of the Western world. They were,
And this is
and
this is
that's the
why
reason
I
why.
think
And to your question
Oh,
quickly,
okay,
hold on,
Prince
10
Daddy.
seconds. To your
At
question
what
about,
point?
1 second. To your question
Okay.
about why the why the West is so against the Russians. There's many facets to that question. One question for sure, or one response, or answer for sure is that look, in order to keep the military industrial complex going, there has to be an enemy, and I think it's well documented among the American historians. Russia actually over the years kind of begged to be part of the West, but the United States resisted Russia. They don't want Russia to be part of the West because if Russia became part of the West, then who's going to be that boogeyman enemy that we have to talk about, that we have to make movies about, and that we have to make people be afraid of? No one. So it's economically based. The reason why they don't want Russia to be friends, and they try to isolate Russia as much as possible, and that's remained a doctrine kind of for a very long time for the military experts in American in America. Um, Other than that, Russia, right after the collapse of the Soviet Union, they kind of gave up. They really did. They came to America. You can say literally came on their knees to beg. Say, okay, we kind of give up. We rather be friends than enemies. But American, I don't know if you want to call them the politicians or the insiders, like, nah, we don't want you. We'd rather have you on that side and let
Hold
us
on,
be
Prince
on this
Daddy.
side.
Did the Russian admit to be subservient to the US, like to be beneath them, underneath them?
Well, in a sense, they did.
Nah,
They
I
did.
think that was the missing part. That
Huh?
was,
And
No, no, no.
also
Hold on. See,
no, they
and
wanted to
I,
stop
you have been
war.
talking now. Let some other person talk. See,
uh,
the thing
let me
is
talk. Let
you
me
see,
finish. You guys
you
talk
have
all the
been
time.
talking.
Hold on,
Tunaja,
Tuna.
let's
Okay,
let him
Tuna,
finish.
wait,
Don't be
Allow me
quick
to
to
enjoy,
finish.
enjoy.
reply.
Wait, let me coordinate you. Wait. Oh yeah, Prince Daddy, Randolph, and later, so another person will talk. Oh yeah,
Oh, I thought you
Prince Daddy,
wanted
say
to
what you
talk.
want to say. Let them that person.
Um,
Right.
what was I saying? Tuna just likes cutting people off. But anyways, yeah. Well, I was gonna say, yeah, America needs an enemy, and Russia is the perfect enemy. Russia was devastated. We all know was devastated after the collapse of the Soviet Union. They had nothing. It was all discombobulated. No doubt about that. Ukraine left, and all these other countries left. Russia was pretty much economically they couldn't fight America. They couldn't do anything. Well, they had the nuclear weapons and whatnot. But if America wanted to go in on them back then, they probably would have succeeded much better than now. But they didn't do that. Again, it's always nice to have that boogeyman out there, to call an enemy. Okay, go ahead, to Niger.
Yeah, you see why his voice has been cracking, trying to explain the unexplainable, saying it's for economic reasons why America needed a boogeyman. You can argue that to an extent it's an economic reason, because power, leads to economic power. But if you look at the Mackinder thesis, this is basically European power struggle between two groups that are not necessarily the same tribes in Europe. You have the Anglo-Saxon, this is power in Europe. Remember, by the time after Napoleon, when Duke Wellington of the UK defeated Napoleon, UK was supreme by and large in Europe. They were the most powerful nation. And then their only threat, they had an empire there, their only threat was Russia. They knew if Russia had access to the oceans and they started expanding out and have alliances with Eastern Europe, they would dominate the world because they are in the middle of everything. They are in the middle of between China and Western Europe. And America is all the way across the ocean, which technically belongs to the British Empire during that time, at least in the minds, because they were all Anglo-Saxons. So they had to
belongs to
find a
British
strategy.
Empire. Don't stop it, man.
Yeah. Okay, fine. Technically, you can say they are not, but they are the same tribe. So the point is that they had to find a strategy to contain Russia. The strategy is surround all the nations around Russia, surround all of them and keep Russia hemmed in. And that is the strategy that they followed. It led to the First World War. And when Stalin saw what was happening, Stalin said, these people are trying to make us their slaves. And Lenin too, all of them, they saw the danger of what was coming. And they said they have to do everything to push against this. And that's why they went towards rapid industrialization that led to millions of deaths. And these people, by the end of the war, they were manufacturing more weapons than Germany could even churn out. And what they did was they said, okay, we are going to fight back against these people that want to oppress us because of whom we are. We are on Russian land and the land is massive and we are between Asia and this European nation. So they felt they needed to fight back. They have a right to defend themselves. But Europeans, because they are the ones that own the empire, they are the seafaring powers. They are like, just because these people are what they are, we can't let them. Not the general Europeans. So I'm talking about Anglo-Saxons. The bigger European group don't have any dog in this fight. They can work with Russia just as much as they can work with this in America. They don't have any serious gripe with Russia. So it was the Anglo-Saxons that were the superpowers that went on first. They won the First World War because of their strategy that they followed by containing Russia and containing any other power that challenges their power. Then the Second World War happened again. They used the Russians as cannon fodder. That's why I said in this world, if you underestimate these Anglo-Saxons, you are going to so regret it because they know strategy. They
Yeah,
use the Russians
sorry,
to
Senator. You were
hold on
talking
now.
on Russia was wait, hold on. You're talking about Russia was an actual enemy to the West. We talking about why what is the animosity right now between two of them? And by the way, you're wrong. Uh,
I'm getting to the point.
Germany actually invaded Russia. It's not because we're using it as fodder. No, they actually invaded Russia.
I'm talking about what the West did. The West, what they did was, because remember, I think it makes sense that Germany invaded Russia when you think about it. Even if they had a pact at that time,
It
Germany
doesn't
shouldn't
make
have
sense.
invaded
They
Russia.
actually did.
It made sense. Can I finish what I'm saying? Because the First World War, Russia was on the side of the West. It's the First World War. So Germany cannot take the chance that they go the West and Russia turns on them again. So what they did was they went towards this thing in Russia. Americans funded the Russians to fight. Basically, the Russians were the main battlefront. Really, did most fighting against the Germans, and basically they are the ones that actually defeated the Germans. But Americans, as efficient as they are, you can also say they won the war because they funded Russia, they supported Russia throughout while Russia is grinding its power down and everything, and they came and claimed victory too. And when the spoils of war happened, they divided Germany and all the rest. Then they turned against Russia again. They're like, suddenly Russia is the boogeyman again. That should tell you that something is not right. Why should they just turn against Russia? 1 minute you are just fighting with them to defeat a common enemy. The next, within a couple of years, you are enemies again. Why?
Now, John, let me ask you a
what do you think
question.
the reason is?
Let me ask. Can I ask you?
I try to give it a partial explanation based on a military industrial complex, but you dismiss all of it. Now you tell us what
It
the
has
reason what is.
they can always have enemies to fight. They didn't before they started fighting Russia. They were fighting the rest of the world.
So
They
now I
will
can ask you
always
a
have
question.
enemies to fight.
So now I can ask you a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So why at the end of the war, why did they, if they were allies and whatever, why at the end of the war, why did they now divide Germany and they won't allow each other to cross into the other side? Like the Americans and the West will not allow the Russians to cross into Western Germany, and the Russian will not, the Soviets, will not allow the Americans to cross into Eastern Germany. Because you're saying at the end of the war, they just turned against Russia, but immediately
Yes.
after the war, they pretty much occupied the territory that they conquered, and
Yes.
then they won't allow each other. So who turned against who?
They because America was at the core of it. America, let's put it this way, the Anglo-Saxons were at the core of it. Why do you think they did that? Because how can you just win a war? Like, can you imagine America with the coalition forces going and beat Germany and they started fighting the coalition forces? They started becoming enemies with the coalition forces. It doesn't make sense. The only reason that happened is because of this Mackinder thesis, because they don't want Russia to be friends with the rest of Western Europe. And if Russia is friends with Western Europe, Russia will be the superpower in the world by de facto, because America is across the ocean. Like I said, how can America influence Europe anymore if Russia is there?
Tonight,
Russia
did
is
you
just
know
as
Russia
powerful as
wanted to
America.
join NATO? Did you know that?
Pardon? Yeah, Russia
Did
wanted
you
to
know that
join
Russia
NATO,
wanted to join NATO?
and guess who rejected it the most? It was still the same Western Anglo-Saxons, not the French
Okay,
that were a
Sunaja,
little
who
bit
you define as Western
ambivalent.
Europe? Sunaja,
Pardon?
are you talking about the Western Europe? Are you talking about the Western Europe you're describing? Is it the present day Western Europe?
Yes, Germany,
Okay,
France, all of them.
Holland.
Yeah, all of them.
Because
There's no
okay,
reason why
okay,
America, Russia is
hold on,
enemies with
hold on.
them.
Wait now, wait. Do you know some of the countries that are part of Western Europe today? They were part of the Soviet before.
Some of them, yes.
Right after the
So
at the end of the war.
to be technically, they are still Eastern Europe, but they are now part of the European
They
Union.
are Slavic, to Nigeria, they are Slavic people. Slavic,
Yes.
that those people within that area. What Nigeria is actually saying is partially right, because the Anglo-Saxon, look at it now till date. Even when everybody is tired in this Ukrainian war, look at it. You see that Britain was at the core, at the center. That no, we fight on, we die here. Continue.
Yeah.
Let's go on with this fight. You saw it now. You should not continue it. You should not, as even an immigrant, that his father did not have, did not have anything to in this fight. He did not know anything about this history that we're talking about. He should not have to continue, or else, or he knows what is there for him politically. So the Anglo-Saxon, they were the ones that were actually most powerful around that time. So, and they have been powerful for a long time. So they definitely have to keep Russia. I
What
mean,
made them
where they are.
powerful? What made them so powerful?
Empire now.
The
The
empire,
empire.
Colonialism. That
It was
is it not
colonial.
the British, the Germans, the Polish, and some of the Polish guys, and were they not the ones that moved to America to crush the Red Indians and some other guys that
Yeah,
set up their thing. So
colonial
you can
colonial
find,
past is what made them give them more relevance.
yeah,
Yeah,
more relevant.
and
That's it. And
one
they want to maintain that grip. That grip must be maintained.
one
yeah.
other
They
thing that is
don't want.
disturbing one other thing that is disturbing the West significantly now is because of global climate change. The North Sea waterway is beginning to melt, because one of the problems of Russia was that they didn't have proper access to the ocean, so they were not a proper ocean faring power. But if the North Sea starts melting and they start moving freely, now Russia will become an ocean faring power, and that amplifies their power greatly, and that may have informed the urgency with which they are going towards Russia at the moment. And you can see the
Greenland.
Russia did not have access to waterways. Or what are you talking about tonight?
they no, they were
Of
not
course,
an
now.
ocean faring race. They have to defeat other countries to get access to the ocean.
So you're
They
saying they
have
have
to defeat.
access now, but they didn't have it before. Is that what you're
No,
saying?
no, no. Yes, the waters are beginning to be more navigable in the North Sea.
Yeah,
and this is that's
yeah,
why they
very
have tensions
good.
with America. That's why why do you think America wants Greenland? This is
Greenland,
why they are
Greenland.
talking about
That's good.
Greenland. All this is you have
And
to
there is
understand what's going on globally to see then that's when you can predict the way they are behaving. You can see that, oh, this is why they are moving this way. This is why they are moving. Why do you think America wants to go so close to Russia? They already contain it to an extent, but they keep wanting to go more because they really want to suffocate that country before it comes out of there. But
to Niger,
personally, I don't know what the result is going to be. Yeah,
to
go ahead.
Niger. Another thing that people don't understand is this. Another takeaway from that war, before that war and after that war, Russia has been able to create an alternative pathway to move goods from the north to the south. They call it the INST, where you can pick goods from Eastern Europe, from Russia, and you go through the Caspian Sea, through the Black Sea. You navigate to get enter Iran. From Iran, you get to India Ocean, and of
Yeah.
course, you'll
So,
be able to access the
Naija,
whole of the
you're just talking.
Asia.
You say
So
the wind
those
for
are
the
the
ice to
things.
melt. Hold on. So looking at the map of Russia, Russia has so many waterways access. You know, from the Bering Sea in the north all the way to Alaska. They have access to the Black Sea. Okay, they have access to, you know, many other waterways. So
No,
you're talking. Know what? I'm
what you
looking
are
at the
talking
map. I'm
about
telling you.
is not North Pole. This is what I just talked about. They are talking about the other side of the world. They have to travel where the real action in the world is going on is the Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean. That's where the stuff, not the North Sea or the this in towards the Arctic. That's not where the action is, and that's why Russia didn't colonize many countries. Why do you think they didn't? You have to
Russia
understand
was
it.
never
And
part
besides,
of the.
why
Russia
do you
was
think?
never part of the
No,
colonial
let me
empire.
give you another example. Why do you think the south in Nigeria, like the southeast, where they want to go through, get to the ocean, they have to go to the south, because most of the areas that Russia, if they want to come out, they have to
Tonight,
go
what
through
is
other
your
countries.
argument? Because Russia until maybe recently was one of the strongest submarine nations in the world. Okay, what are you talking about? They've always, when it comes to maritime war or navigation, the Russians or the Soviets, they've always been great. So what is
No,
your argument?
no, no.
Huh?
They have never been a sea power. Yes, they have submarines. Of course, I didn't say they don't have access to the ocean. But they are the areas that they have access to. I just mentioned that those areas are beginning to thaw. It's
So
more
tonight,
easy to
how did they get
navigate
to
now.
Cuba then?
But
How
what
did
is the
the
point
Russians
of
get
that?
to?
What
How
is the
did they
point
get
of
to
that?
I
Cuba?
didn't say they don't have access to the ocean. How many times do I need to repeat that again?
That's what you
They do
said.
have
Yes,
access to it,
I got
but they are
you.
not.
But
No,
when
but they are not a
the
seafaring
area that
power
part,
like the way others are that have access to the ocean in almost every direction. That's what I'm
Senegal,
saying.
when in order
One
to
of them
show your
was
prowess,
fighting.
hold on. In order to show your prowess in history, you always come up with um this what do you call it? Uh, uh, facts. I don't know how to put it, but
But it's
you
a
learn about
fact.
some certain things,
Oh, no, you
and
tell me if you are correct. Tell me why did Russia not colonize other nations the way others
I,
did? Tell me what
I don't
limited
think
them.
was it was ever part of Russia's
Oh
strategic
my God! If
policy.
you believe
Is
that, you
it?
believe anything.
I don't know. Then tell me
Is
how
their
come they didn't
access
colonize.
to the ocean? It's not that they don't have access to these oceans where the action is taking place. They don't. At least they have. I'm not saying they don't have access to it, but they don't have ready access to it compared to the others. The
So what
others
you can say
is
is the
I
they are
said it will
right
take
there.
proximity.
long time.
Proximity. Yeah,
Yes,
proximity.
Compared
it
to
takes them
But you can't say they
longer.
don't
It
have
takes them
access.
Portugal.
longer. That's what I'm
It will
saying.
take
It takes
longer.
them longer. It's very very hard for them. It's not as while the Europeans
No,
will just
I
see it
don't
like they are
buy
in
that.
Africa.
No,
That's
Prince
almost
Daddy,
a lazy.
I don't think
That's
he's
a
saying that
lazy
they don't have
reason.
access. They can't get nowhere. But what he's saying is that
They,
That
they are further
doesn't
away.
make
They
any
have the
sense.
proximity is
that
the
is
Uh,
why they
advantage.
are trying to contain them and keep them there so that they don't come out.
Prince Daddy, to some extent, and the first time in about 2 years, I think uh, through Niger, ChatGPT told him
Oh
something
no.
close to the truth.
Wow. First time in 2 years.
Naja, you say you are for the first time.
Wow. First time in 2 years. Oh wow. It took 2 years for that to happen. See,
Naja, that's a compliment too.
yeah, that's the compliment. What am I gonna do? I will take it now.
Hold on tonight, yeah. Russia all the way. When it was former USSR, all the way. This is big old freaking land. They actually have access to the Pacific Ocean. Actually, they do. They do have a
No,
access to the
no, no.
It's harder for them. Jeez. I don't know
Prince
what
Daddy,
I need to tell you.
I think they have some frozen area in their, that they can
Exactly.
access. So
they
that's the
have what?
problem. Frozen, it's one thing
Most
is
of
for
Russia
people
is
to
frozen, very
I,
extremely
I,
cold.
but
frozen.
that has never been a barrier. See, when it
It,
comes to this
It is
kind
a
of
it
barrier.
waterways,
has.
Prince Daddy, it is
It
a barrier.
has.
It's a
How
barrier.
can you not know that?
It-
Look at Egypt today. Egypt, almost 80% of Egypt or 90% of Egypt
no,
is not
soon I
habitable
got
because they
you're
all
talking like
gather
a
in one
typical
area. This is
African.
no,
For
I'm
a
trying to
British
give you an
guy, hold
example
on.
how nations are.
Wait, Prince Daddy,
Russia
what?
You
might
know,
be
see,
big,
Wait, wait.
but the place
you
where people
talking like
reside
Tuna,
typical
what did you say
are
about
very
African.
Egypt?
small.
1 second, guys. Soon I just talking like a typical African with like in a box or in a cage. Look at all the limitations you put in on Russia because maybe they don't have access to water or this kind
I
of
didn't even
water.
put
That's
the
why they don't want to.
limitation. It's
Oh,
just God
hold
that
on.
did it. I didn't do it.
No,
So
see,
don't put it on me.
it's just like you making an argument like Japan never had natural resources. That's why they never developed, and we know that's trash. That's garbage.
What?
Okay, it's like you making an argument that Japan never had natural resources compared to their counterparts, and that's why they never developed. And we know that's a lie because Japan, with very limited natural resources, became the second biggest economy in the world for a very long time. So your lazy argument because Russia did not have access to the waterways that's so palatable, so to speak. That's why they did not colonize some nations. That's a lazy argument.
I
So
don't
you
I
know.
said
don't think it was part of that
In
doctrine.
your
taking
I
mind,
don't think it was. I
an
don't think it
argument
was
on
ever
Japan
part of
does
that
have
strategic
resources. I
doctrine.
don't know why you're saying they don't have any. Maybe they don't have modern kind of resources compared to other places, but they don't have zero resources. They must need something to
I
survive.
didn't say see,
that's not the
I think I
argument,
said it before. You like to take what people say and
No,
try
but
to
you're
twist
saying
it to your own
you are making
understanding
comment that
to make your point.
this in Japan doesn't have resources, so that's why they
I
cannot
said,
develop.
well,
That's not what he's saying, Tuna. Ja.
see,
What
somebody,
is he
I'm glad
saying
somebody
then?
has
Because
heard me.
I don't know what. Then what
You
is
need
the
to
point
learn
he's
to
making? Why did
listen.
he bring
Ja.
Germany into it? He's saying okay, okay. Let me qualify it.
He's not arguing about
Please.
Japan. He's just trying to tell you that you can't be using these African excuses of why something cannot be done. So he's just
Oh
kind
no
of
no
saying,
no no! I didn't make it up. History has already happened. So there are certain things you can argue with. You see my point. Russia is not because they didn't try. It was just harder for them. Most of Russia is inhabitable because of the way the landmass is. Most of the places is a frozen tundra. It's very very hard to navigate and work in those kind of environment. This is why many African countries that are like bordering the Sahara Desert, most of the people inhabit about 10% of the landmass. The
okay,
same thing
so
is
are
happening
you
to
like
Russia.
telling us that was the reason Russia couldn't get to the other part of the world?
Yes, all those things limited them. They are
But
always
they
fighting
still got
against
there
the
though.
tide.
But did they still
Pardon?
get there? Did they still get to the other part of the
Oh no
world?
no no! Yeah, of course they
Okay,
do
so
travel
they
around.
got there. They got there. They figured a way to get there. What's the argument
But
here?
look at you. You see,
It's so
if
hard
you
for
want
the
to, oh,
Russians
no
to
no
get to
no
the
no
other
no,
part of the world, but
Prince Daddy, Prince
space,
Daddy, hold on. Let me
right?
ask. Let me just make this clear so we can understand it. If you want to run 100 meters with other
Uh,
athletes, and somebody decides that by the time before you start the race, I'm going to tie 50 kg load on you. What are the chances that you're going to win that race? You won't. That is what Russia has to face. It's not because they cannot move, or like in the case of the running, they cannot move. They can move, but they can't run as fast as the others. That is what I'm trying to say. I didn't say that they
Tunaja,
don't have access to the sea.
Tunaja,
It's just
do you
harder
know?
for them.
Okay. Let's use this. Do you know America is even further out away from the, let's say, the Africans and Asia than a lot of European countries, but America still dominate the markets there. So they're not giving
Uh,
excuses that hey, we are far out there, but then we dominate the markets.
not,
they're still able to
not,
get
not.
there.
When it comes to the ocean
Tonight, it's so
navigation,
hard for the Russians to get to Africa, but they went to space, right?
Russia going to the states. What do you mean?
Space, space.
No, you are talking about Trump Daddy. You are talking about the year. Let's look at the year. If you look at it now, it's much more now from somebody that's moving from UK to Nigeria. Can we compare the person with somebody that's coming from Russia? Even from flight. Let's say
There's
Mute
noise
your
in your
mic, man.
background. There's a lot of noise from your background. I don't know what's going on.
sorry, I said for somebody that's
Hey,
moving from Nigeria to UK, you can easily move around 6 hours or so, 6 hours direct flight. Can you do that from here to Russia? In 6 hours? No. The fact is just that if you look at the way
Okay,
they arrange
this argument,
them.
I don't know how to make
No,
this argument.
I'm not making any sense to them. What I'm saying is that before you get to that spot, somebody is already there. And if you look at them, that was one of the reasons why, for
I
example,
know,
this is
and I'm telling you that
struggling.
it's not an adequate reason. What you guys trying to build your case on, it's very weak. It's very weak. It has no legs.
They're
Okay,
using
now
distance.
let me clarify it again so that you understand. See, America is an ocean ferry race. The thing about ocean ferrying nations is that they can supply goods to each other more easily. You know, ocean, they don't know
It's like that.
exactly.
Please, I
Can I just finish
don't
what
give us.
I'm
I
saying? Can
don't
I
need
just finish
that
what
right
I'm
now.
saying?
No,
You see, he won't let you talk now. The moment you get to this point, you know that somebody is
no, because
just they
you
don't
don't
want
have an
they've
argument.
lost the argument and they
I know
don't
you
want
don't
to
need like
talk.
a thousand examples to explain what you're saying. I heard what you said.
No, you've just finished
I heard
talking
it
and I want
clearly.
to talk and you want to stop me
It
from
said
talking.
the
It just
limitation
shows you
of the
you've lost
Rush.
the argument. That's why
Hold
you're
on.
doing that.
The limitation of Russia being an hegemony was as a result of their limitation or uh, lack of easy waterways to reach maybe other parts of the world that they could conquer. I think that's what you're trying to tell me. And the other person Darcy just said, oh well, if you're traveling from point A to point B, I get all that, but I'm making the argument that that's a lazy argument, and I don't think it holds water. I don't think so. I
You,
think overall, it's not the Russian or the USSR policy to expand around the
answer
world
me this simple
like the
question then.
Western world
Answer
did.
me this simple
Oh,
question.
okay, okay.
Answer the
No,
simple
wait.
question. Hold
No,
on,
no,
Dorothy.
no,
Let
wait.
him answer the simple
No, no,
question.
it's not Dorati. It's not Dorati. This is Sola.
Okay.
Wait, Tunaija. I know. I want you to examine what Prince Daddy say. You know why I say soul is this?
That's why I want to
China.
ask him the question.
Wait, China was the biggest ocean commanders. As a country, was the biggest ocean commander as far back as 9th century, even when others were still sleeping. But this guy never made it part of their policy to expand and start colonizing people. Only for the UK to just wake up 600 years, but 600 years after to go after, even more than 600 years after to go after China that have been there for a very long time. So, are you not seeing it from the angle that Russia even had it as part of their policy, or they were not interested in colonizing people? Yeah, well done. Are you using DeepSeek or Google ChatGPT? I can see
No,
your.
because what I keep saying the same thing over and over again, I don't understand how many language I need to speak. So now let me make this clear. When I said if you are doing a 100-meter race with somebody and somebody ties 100, a 40, a 50 kg load on you, does that mean you cannot run? It means you can run, but you can't win. And I don't understand how that is difficult to understand. Nobody is saying that Russia cannot have access to this thing. And Prince Dad is saying that that's a lazy argument. If it's a lazy argument, then you go and try your luck. Let somebody tie 50 kg on you and you run against Usain Bolt or some other person that is not restricted like that. And let's see whether that's still a lazy
Can you
argument.
which
I
race are
don't
you talking about? A race to is it a race to
like
conquer, the
100
race to
like
colonize?
100-meter race. Like 100
No, no,
meter
no.
race now.
Forget. We get that. We understand your primary school and all that. We can run fast. We are saying the race that you are referring to between the Russia and the other ones. Is it the race for what? Is it a race for conquest, for colonialism, for what?
Yes. The
Okay,
race to colonize the world.
okay. So you are saying the reason why those ones were able to colonize and Russia wasn't able is because they have closer distance to
Yes, they
those
have
places. Okay,
ready
now let me ask you
access.
this. Let me ask you this. Between Spain and let's say UK and even France, who's closer to the continent of Africa?
Them, they are closer than Russia.
Spain is close. No, no, no. Between
Yes.
Spain and France, I'm not talking about Russia. Spain is closer to the continent. In fact, Spain even I can even say they even have some kind of connection to the North Africa. But now, yet France has more colony, and British was able to get more colony than Spain and
Yeah, but
Portugal in Africa.
which ones moved in first? Have you noticed
Well,
that
okay, whoever,
the ones that
okay,
were
he
closer to
even
Africa are
kills
the
you.
ones that
No,
moved
I
in
think
first?
Spain even got there first.
And that's
Portugal.
my point.
Hold on, Portuguese. Hold on, wait. The argument they are making with you is that it's not really who's closer. It's a matter of policy, because even Portuguese were and the Spaniards were first engaging the Africans even before the British and the French and the Germans. But yet the British and the French happen to end up with more colonies and conquest on a continent than Spain and Portugal. So it place the argument that I presented to you there. Sometimes it's not really who's closer to where. It's a matter of it's
Mindset.
more of a matter of policy.
See, what you are
And they
describing
also
is
told you that these Chinese were already going everywhere, trading with everybody, going there before even all these people. But it never occurred to them that they have to conquer and colonize and things like that, because it's just sometimes a matter of policy.
I hear that argument in terms of policy in the case of the Chinese, but the difference this time is that during that era of colonization, especially most European nations wanted to. Russia wanted to. They did try. They didn't just. They were not just that good at it because they were so far away. They were not always there to be able to respond to these threats to their territories. They did try. The Chinese didn't try. They had a policy of not doing it. So there's a slight difference there. In terms of the Spanish one and the this Portuguese, how the Portuguese seem to have managed to do emerge in Africa more. There was an interaction between Spain and Africa. We all know about the Moor Empire. During when they were controlling part of Spain and some areas or other areas of Europe. So all that dynamics was going on during that time, while that was during that period when shipping and all those things started expanding, and the Portuguese they are right next door to the Spanish. They are not like that far. They are like next door to the Spanish. Then they just navigated to West Africa and other parts of Africa, and they started doing trade. So it's the same thing, and the Spanish followed after that. Then the British followed. The French followed. All of them followed after that. Those two that were closest to Africa, you can say why. Okay, the Arabs too were doing the same thing. They too were closest to Africa. They too were doing the same thing. So the closer you are, the more chances that you are able to, take advantage of stuff. And
Yeah,
the thing about
I know you like to beat a dead
let me
horse.
finish
So
what
you
I'm
know,
saying. Let me finish. No,
I
no.
think
Let
you
me finish what
finished.
I'm saying.
We got the gist. We
Let
got
me
the gist.
finish
You're
that.
never
You
gonna
need to
give up. You're
stop
not gonna give up.
interrupting. You need to
You're gonna
stop
argue to
interrupting
the
me.
end of the
You're
night
actually
about your
being
position.
see, Prince Daddy.
And
You are being a little bit childish for a daddy. Calm down.
Let me
Eh?
let me come
You need to stop. See, the point is that ocean faring races they have this unique advantage. One, most of their territories they tend to, if they are able to move around more easily, they can reach different areas. Like the Spain now, they can reach UK, they can travel to America, they can travel to. But Russia doesn't have that. It's like somebody having a passport that can travel to multiple countries. It makes it easier for them, and then they can also use that water which has ocean current. If they don't have to do a lot of lifting, they don't have to build a lot of infrastructure to transport goods. All those things just works for them. But
okay,
if you have
tonight,
to do it
you
overground, you
win.
have to
Okay,
finish.
so
Let me finish now.
has it occurred
I
to
want to describe
how long
the
you gonna
actual.
continue now? Let
Oh,
me
come on. I
interject.
want to
Come on.
describe the logistics that actually gets things done. If you have to do it overland, you have to build pathways for it. You have to build rail tracks. You have to build all those things involve a lot of cost compared to using the water. Come on, man. This is why they have that advantage. Go ahead if you want to say something.
Tunaya,
So,
can I interject?
as much
Can
as
I
the
interject?
Europeans they fought among themselves, is there a reason, or do you think um, the policy to exclude Russia in their hegemonistic plan plays a role? Because I can't remember the treaty they had where they kind of divided Africa somewhat amongst themselves, even though they shafted the Germans. The Germans were upset at the end of the day and that they got shafted.
Berlin Conference.
Okay, the Berlin Conference. Okay, so I'm not sure what the Soviet Union's plan was then in terms of maybe taking part of Africa. I don't know, but again, unless maybe somebody tells me, I don't buy your argument because of the navigational challenges and their proximity to maybe some better waterways. That's why they did not conquer. It doesn't make any sense. If Russia can get to space before America and many other nations, I don't think it's going to be a problem for them. To travel around the damn world to go conquer some village
See,
in Africa, wherever if they choose to. Again, to me,
when
I
they
think
went
it
to
comes down.
space,
Let me interject, Tunaya.
they had industrialized when they went to space. During the colonization period, they had not industrialized. Russia was a serfdom kind of kingdom. This is one of the problems that Lenin and Stalin was trying to change. They were not that industrialized.
Oh,
That's one of the, one
okay.
of
Now
the biggest
you
problems they
switch
had.
the argument. It's not because they didn't have waterways. It's because they were serfdom. They were like backwards.
No,
In
to
other words, that's
industrialize,
what
you
you're saying.
tend to need wealth to industrialize. But carry on if you want to believe what
Let
you
me
want.
let me interject. Let me interject. Prince Daddy. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes,
great.
yes,
Yeah.
we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Okay. Good evening. Good evening, everybody. It's almost morning. Right quick, please. Before we, because this is taking another twist. Now, do we think about technology? Technology. Many of this technology we have now, back in the days, we don't have them. Now, when you're talking about they were able to go, Russia was able to go to the space. We're talking about how many centuries after that those technology was developed. We're talking about the Soviet time when there is nothing. Everybody had to do everything manually, locomotive wise. Prince Daddy, you need to understand one thing. When we're talking about Russia, Russia is a peculiar environment. It's not open. And sometimes our argument, sometimes it doesn't take us much. We have Google. Google's our friend. Type those things there. It's history. Tunaja said something earlier. He said, history cannot, we is not writing the new history. It's history of what had happened before now. That's what he's talking about. Let's be open-minded when we have some of this discussion. It's an open book. While you guys were talking, I opened it up. All I did was search the limitation of Russia waterways navigation during the Soviet time. Everything is boldly written here. It's because of the frozen weather. They are a whole lot of issue boils down to freezing weather, the freezing condition they have there. A
Okay,
boat will
but
not
sorry, before you
flow.
continue,
A
interjection.
boat will
You
not
didn't ask
flow.
the
Please,
question.
Daddy, let
Would
someone
you?
finish. Let me finish. Let me finish my point before you don't cut me off. Don't cut me off. That's a sign of you giving in when you do that. Now, it's all written here. I'm not the one who wrote them. You can put it online. These things are listed here. And one problem is, even the plane will fly when the weather is bad. It flies on the air, they won't take off. If you don't have enough space to tax, your plane will not move. If the weather is bad, it's known, whatever it is, it will move. Let's not talk about a ship that is meant to flow on the water and is going on a war, maybe to go conquer. Remember how much load the vessel is going to carry. And it's frozen. They are bound for failure already. It's a logical discussion here. Is there? They still have the problem to today. Now, what Tunaya was trying to illustrate earlier is simple. Let's not take it too far. If you and I, someone from said, if you have to take off from UK to Nigeria, you get the ASAP. If I have to take off from here, you will be there when I arrive. It doesn't stop me from moving, but you must have conquered your whole space before I get there. Then you will renegotiate, you strategize on something else. So, talking about till today, Russia is still having that peculiar issue. There are times people don't even want to go in there. There are times when it's open. You still have that limitation. Let's be open-minded when it comes to all these. When you're talking about capturing or go on slave, whatever, everybody conquering and others or other European country, the fact remains that everybody knows the condition of their home. They want to do with that. If they had gone, what if they know or they've said to themselves, if we have gone, we will not make it. No spoil, even whatever spoil they get, might not even make it back up. Whatever gain. So
Exactly.
I want us to be civil when we make all this. Russia, we may have law for Russia, we have whatever for them. Every battle you have to strategize. If you fail to strategize, you become the bait. So they have their limitation. Everybody has their own limitation. Just like the state also. Just like Europe also. Many of them had advantage, but they have their own disadvantage also. So it's written out here. When we want to make points, when we want to talk about some stuff, we can read. History is there. It's for us to read from. I submit at this time.
Thank you. Um, one
Let
of
me
the
respond, please. Hold on a
okay,
second,
go
please.
ahead, go ahead.
Um,
Only fair.
so I think it was Ola, Samuel, that you talked about, um, just like you were saying tonight, yeah, limitation to waterways and flying airplanes. But still didn't answer the question. I mean, they answered the question why they did not colonize other countries. But I guess his point was, well, because maybe the British or the French got there fast, quicker, therefore the Russians were late and could not colonize other countries. Okay, uh, that's fine. At the end of the day, if you satisfy you guys' position, I guess that's fine. But to me, it doesn't make any sense. This is the way a black man would think or an African would think.
See,
These people never
this is
put
the issue here.
Have you noticed that the further north you
these
go
people
inside
never.
Europe,
Let
the
me
less
finish,
This is
please.
people
the
that
These
issue.
people never put
colonize
limitation on
other
themselves.
countries, the further north you go into
They
Europe.
never put. Let me talk. Let me
How
land,
many
please.
countries did Sweden colonize?
They never put limitation on themselves. I mean, people that can go to space and build one of the best submarines in the world and navigate all the way from the Bering Sea to the Pacific Ocean and around, and somehow, some way, going to a damn place to go colonize is a big problem. But I still remain with my position on the matter that it was never. I don't think it was ever part of their strategic policy, to dominate or go to places to conquer. I don't think it was.
They did. They tried to. It's not that they didn't do it. They did. I don't know why you are saying they didn't. They did. They were. I think they were in Africa too.
Do you know
Well,
one thing here? Can I drop this? Can I drop this? We're talking about space. At what year to what year? Russia went to space 1957. That was why they launched their first satellite. Now, what year are we talking about invasion? What year are we talking about colonization? It's way apart. And that's why I said something earlier. I said technology, it's the transition, the length is different. The first airplane we had was not the same time we were carrying, people were traveling on the ship to go and get slaves or go and take territories. And I said something earlier, if that's why this kind of forum, we need to follow each other keenly. I said something earlier. What if they have decided to channel their energy somewhere else? Or they re-strategize? They knew fully well this will not be a journey with gain. It's as simple as that. So if you, Prince Daddy, you are to embark on a journey, you want to get the cost. You want to look at it. This is what it's going to cost me. Same as everybody who want to embark on a journey. You can't just put everybody because you want to go, other people are going. Before you know it, you crash.
well, you're
So
right, because it was never part of their policy. You're right. It was.
say, I'm
They
not
didn't
there,
want to
you're not
go.
there. You are not there.
Well, see, okay, let's see right here. I'm reading something right here. So the Soviet pursued internal colonialism in Central Asia from the 1930s through the 1950s. Joseph Stalin ordered populations transfer in the Soviet Union, deporting people. See, just like I thought, I don't think it was ever part of Russia's, you know, policy, the imperial uh, policy, if you want to put it that way, to like the British did, or the French, to go conquer other countries. Russia was a big enough as the Soviet Union. They were quite large, very still the largest nation in the world, if I'm not mistaken, bigger than China in terms of land mass. They have other priorities. You get assuming that because they were a big country and maybe superpower, even back then maybe they were not. But even back in Stalin time, 1930s, they were formidable opponent to the West. They've always been, actually. So, but again, you guys can claim your victory based on
It's
the
not.
challenges of
It's not.
navigating the
It's not
waterways. That's why they
victory.
didn't colonize other countries. That is fine.
And do you know one thing? Maybe they should have done that earlier in their days instead of doing that now, because now they want to take land. So they're going back on a horse race. What they've missed earlier in their life. That's what they're going for now at this time of modern day.
Now, Ukraine was part of the greater Russia.
Either way,
If anything that people
either
have
way,
talked about, they would like to take back their former USSR colonies.
they
But
are
in terms
former
of expansion
USSR.
beyond that, I don't think was ever their policy.
I would say what it might not be part of their policy or whatever it is, but I think this discussion started saying, talking about what their limitation was about logistics wise. They have challenges. That's what we got down to. Hey, can I ask this question? I don't know if you still there. If Ola is still there, I don't know. Maybe you guys have already touched it. What is going on with uh is Ola there? Ola,
It looks like he's not there because Kolata is crying backstage. He wants to come in.
he wants to come
Um,
in.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
well,
He's not here. He's not. Oh yeah, he's letting me
okay.
now.
So that is it. Now, let me to Niger. You saw the video of our president on and Elon and the son. What's going on here? I know that's Prince Daddy's president, but I just want.
I don't know why people react badly to that. Personally, what I saw, what Elon Musk is saying, I don't know what is so wrong about it. It's just that people are so skeptical that he has ulterior motives. But what he said in that meeting, I don't see anything wrong with it. And the thing, people are not noticing Trump enough. People think Trump will just turn on Elon Musk. What I see in Trump when Elon Musk is talking is pride, like a father. And
Mm.
he may not turn on him. So people are
No, I'm not even talking about. I'm not talking about. No. I'm not even talking about what Elon was saying. You saw the clip of the little boy
yeah,
that walked up to Trump and
yeah.
said, "You are not the president. Get out of here," or something like
Oh, he
that.
did that. I didn't know that too. I didn't know that.
Oh, Jesus! You
I'm not
missed
saying
that.
that.
That
No,
4 year old.
oh no. If that
Is
happened,
that
that
really
would be
true?
embarrassing. That would be embarrassing. I don't think it happened. I don't think it happened. That was
No.
too much.
Who says is that really true?
Show
It's
us
just,
the
This is
send the link. Show us the video. We would like to
I'm
see that.
just acting. I don't know about that.
no,
I'm just
no. I'm serious. This is real. It's on a live transmission.
even
Nah, nah.
Samuela, I think I understand you. Even apart from the boy saying that you're having a press interview and your son is running around like that,
He's running around the
the
Oval
standard
Office.
is very low. I think, come on, man, you are talking to your country and to the rest of the world. This
And
is I don't understand
See,
why.
Remy,
No, no,
you may
no.
actually have a
Prince Daddy,
negative view of
so,
Trump.
Trump Daddy,
There was
you will
nothing
come.
wrong
You
with
will
that.
come.
I
There was
think
nothing
I
wrong
yes,
with
don't
that.
think you are mistaken. They don't care.
See, so,
They just care
sorry,
about
guys.
One,
Guys,
one
before I
voice,
his
one
board,
voice,
family, please.
one voice.
hold on,
So
guys. Before I board my flight, because there's a lot of noise, I'm in the airport. This Russia argument, all of you are actually right. None of you were wrong. You guys were just elaborating on one point. Prince Daddy is right. From a policy perspective, the Russia decided to go land-wise. That's why they expanded through the Siberia to Finland and all. And Tunaja is right. Maybe the reason they started that policy was because the terrain was not exactly nice from a sea perspective, but not for lack of trying. They did try Alaska and some other areas, and they failed. So nobody is wrong. So let me catch my flight. I just wanted to say you guys were just arguing
all right, Kulato.
Okay, well,
proof
thanks,
points.
Uncle Lata. But on that point, let's be
bon
clear.
voyage.
Russia,
Prince
hold
Daddy
on.
That-
will
Russia
disagree
actually
with you.
owned Alaska. Russia actually owned Alaska. For the record, they sold it to the United States. Okay. um. Anyway, I'm reading again. Russia pursued an internal colonialism, if you know what that is. It was not because of their challenges of navigating the waterways. Even though Chukwulata said Tunaja is right. Tunaja is never right. Okay.
Trump,
So
Trump Daddy, Trump Daddy. I also want to ask you.
Oh my God.
Sorry, Tunaja. Trump Daddy.
Yeah.
Russia also colonized Finland too. If you want to know, they colonized Finland before. What they did was that they spread into Central Asia and Central Europe. And they became so extremely large. It's not easy to govern that space. Do you know how many countries carve out of old Soviet Union? Even till today, you still see the presence of Russia here. So you cannot say because they did not go to Africa, they don't have the power, or because of the natural resources that natural like ocean or whatever that stop them from doing that. No, they have their own ideology. I supported Prince Daddy on that. They know what they're
Thank
doing.
you.
They became so extremely large, and to the extent that they started selling off some of their island, and that's why they sold that one to America. You go
Exactly.
and
They
look
sued
at the map.
Alaska. Thank you.
Even from the former Soviet Union, there are more than 12 or 14 countries carve out. All the Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, all of them like that. They were from those places.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't have, yeah, because
Is that it? You know, Russia sent some exploratory forces into Madagascar. There was a time they even had their map. This thing, but the French pressured them and caused so much trouble. They got out of there very fast. They did try, not for lack of trying. They did try to own territories, but they couldn't. It's
They
because the
couldn't hold it.
supply line is too difficult. And I can list all the stuff that was listed that limited Russia. Geographical distance is one of them. Internal focus is one of them. This is the argument that I think President is trying to make. Naval limitation is a big one because remember, so during some times of the year, the entire ocean is frozen around that area.
so
They don't have.
how come America that's very far away from Africa go and colonize Liberia and stay alone? What are you talking here?
America
Listen,
is British. I don't know why people keep confusing it all the time.
No, they have. It's like you have your hand full, and if you went out and do such a thing like that, you don't have that internal cohesion. So they don't know what they are doing. They concentrate their effort on space technology.
yeah,
See,
That is
no,
space.
think
that,
about it.
that,
See,
And
sorry, let
aeronautic
me. This last
engineering.
point. This last point.
One voice at a
This,
time.
this
One
is the
voice at a
last point.
time.
This is the last one I'm going to make about this. If you look at European countries, the further north you go, where it is frozen, the less they colonize anybody because they didn't have access, not because of ideology. I'll leave it like that.
hey,
And that
hey,
I tend to well, two Nigeria may not be wrong. You know, that might not be wrong because let's have a fact.
No, I think I disagree with you, Niger. You have to know the culture
I
and the
say I
mentality.
see you know it might not be wrong. You understand? And
I
Prince
don't
Daddy
really,
might not
I
be wrong.
totally disagree
Look,
that because it's a geographical
see,
position or it's very
if
far.
no, if we have evidence, of some little colonialism that Russia did, Russia if they colonized some areas but were unable to
Do
expand,
you know
then
that all those Belarus, Finland that I'm here, they partially colonized us. They have a bitter war with Sweden too.
did
The
they
land
colonize them
colonized
or
them.
they
They
conquer
conquer
them just
Finland, they rule Finland. I'm telling you, I'm repeating it again. Belarus and the rest, they are the one that conquer all of them. They are the former
there,
Soviet
You're talking
there,
about
there,
Union.
world
there,
colonization.
there,
What?
there. If you are saying that you are still supporting to Nigeria because if they actually took over those people, that means that they could have expanded if they had better access to the ocean.
No, a lot.
So,
That's why
you
you have to
know, Ola,
understand
I think
their
you are wrong.
policy. You have to
Okay,
understand their policy. See, up to today, Russia is always concerned about its contiguous line, meaning the countries that border Russia. Never really beyond that. It was never their interest really to go way beyond their territory because they have a very big landmass and they still do up to today. Just like Remy said, Finland and all these other countries, Belarus and Tajikistan, all these countries were next to Russia and they had dominance over these countries. They did.
so let me add this. Let me add this.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Sam.
Can Ola, we've been looking for you for a while. Away. Good evening. Uh,
Bro.
this whole thing, like Russia, whatever, they've done what they want to do. They have their own ideology. They've till today, Russia is still Russia. And like Remy said, it could be other state of the nation that they've taken, they let go. They don't have a strong will when it comes to that. And they are who they are today. And all they're trying to do, all they're trying to achieve now, just to get the world power back. And the guy is really, really on a mission to get the world power back. I tell you, he's really, really on a mission, more especially to silence United States. And that's what took me back to that question I asked earlier. I heard that should be Prince Daddy. No other person would do. But now this is it. I asked a question about Elon Musk earlier and his card, the card they are playing. You know, the issue of this war brought us this far and stuff like that. What do you think is really going on? I want concrete explanation to like someone who can bring the puzzles together. What is going on?
Let
We
me take
have
a shot at
United
it.
States.
Before
United
Trump Daddy
States.
talk, let others speak, because at the end of the day, we know you are a non-supporter of him. You will defend him very well. But in my own personal opinion,
I don't want no. The Prince Daddy should not say anything for now. Let someone else speak on this
because
issue.
just my own
Okay.
perspective.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I got it.
Just my own perspective. I think
Quickly, because I soon step away from the screen, but I'm going to drop the link. Anybody that want to join, because I know people still want to continue, but I'm just limited. I'm limited, so I will put everybody in the background. The after hour we continue there, but I put the link there. So if anybody want to join, you can use this opportunity to join so that I can add you before I step away. So, but after saying that, I want to thank everyone for sharing this moment of learning with us, and we look forward to see you tomorrow. Thank you, everyone. See you later. Okay, you can continue.
okay.